Week 6 caps off with 49ers, Packers, and we have no idea who's playing. There's a million questionable players on this slate, but I got Big Play Coach Jay, Daily Fantasy Insider expert, and we're going to parse through the data, filter the game time decisions, and make our best picks for this $1 million slate. You ready, Nick?
Yeah, we're just winging it, just going off what we think guys are going to do. And
I know the Packers are going to move the ball and probably win the game. Everything else is a question mark. But that makes question 1 easy, right?
It does. Aaron Rodgers.
It's always passing yards. It's Aaron Rodgers or CJ Beathard, and we're going to just finger roll to the hoop and move on to question 2. Most rushing yards, and with Matt Breida banged up, this one is easy for the 49ers. They're going to put Alfred Morris out there. The Packers are still working their three-headed monster of Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and Ty Montgomery. So with the backfield split in Green Bay, are you going with Morris here?
Yeah, I am. He might get a few carries vultured by Raheem Mostert, but the Packers are going to be splitting it 3 ways between Jones and Williams and Montgomery, despite that Aaron Jones is obviously the best running back on that team.
Maybe in this
what
group.
do I know, though? I just watch the games and look at the stats and all that other stuff.
Hey, I noticed something. You're kind of down on this slate because we have all the injured players, but I think that makes some of these questions easy, giving you an edge, giving you a legitimate shot at $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree.
I've never felt more jazzed up about Alfred Morris in my life. Let's go. Question 3, most receiving yards, and with the questionable guys on the Packers, we can't really be sure who's going to be out there, but Jimmy Graham's the A-bet, followed by Kyle Juszczyk, that's a fullback, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Equanimous St. Brown. So we've avoided the questionables of Cobb and Allison, and we got some rookies out there for Green Bay. Who do you like in this question?
Nobody, but I have to pick somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to go with Jimmy Graham in this one. He's going to be the primary target over the middle. If Cobb can't go. If Cobb can go, I still like Jimmy Graham's matchup. He's an elite tight end, or at least was an elite tight end, and still seems to be showing some of those traits. So I like Jimmy Graham here. Yeah,
Juszczyk just seems to be shoved in here for roster purposes. He's had some nice receiving games, but Alfred Morris is still capable of catching passes in this quick release offense, so I don't see any extended fullback production. I do like Marquez Valdez-Scantling. St. Brown's a nice player too, but Jimmy Graham is due to break out. Tight ends have done fine against the 49ers. Matt Patricia had the same strategy for Jimmy Graham that he did on Gronk, locking him down last week, and I think this is where Jimmy Graham has a nice primetime breakout. Question 4 is most receptions, and this is where the questionable tag gets broken out. The A-bet is Randall Cobb, followed by George Kittle, Jimmy Graham, and Pierre Garçon, who also finds himself questionable. So what do you like here? Most receptions. I got one in mind.
I would take either the A-bet or the B-bet, depending on which one plays. If they both play, I like Cobb the most. He's just a short route, dink and dunk kind of guy.
Yeah.
On the edge, Richard Sherman has actually still been very, very good this year, despite people saying that he's washed. So I do think Rodgers is going to look over the middle on these shorter routes, and Cobb will be the main beneficiary there.
I'm going to go with George Kittle here. I think he is the #1 weapon on this 49er offense, and his involvement is critical to any offensive success they have. What's more, he is a big play guy. This is a receptions, not a yards, but he's a red zone guy. He's a middle of the field guy. He's a flat route guy. He's all around talent. He's a matchup winner on linebackers, and I think he can have a strong game. He can have a strong game because nobody else can because of talent and injuries. Question 5 is most total touchdowns. We got Geronimo Allison in here with Kendrick Bourne, you heard that right. That is Kendrick Bourne, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and George Kittle. So what do you like for most touchdowns? And is there any chance you get this question right?
I'd say there's a 15% chance we get it right.
Yeah.
I like Kittle, just like you said. He's their best red zone threat. The Packers can run it in. They can throw it in. It could be Graham. It could be Cobb. Last week it was Valdez-Scantling. It could be anybody for them. The Niners are banged up enough that Kittle's going to be their guy in the red zone.
Very good chance one wins this question, right?
Yeah.
So give me Valdez-Scantling winning on the outside. I think if one of Cobb and Allison doesn't play, I think he's the biggest beneficiary. So I'm going to go MVS. I can't even get his initials right. His name's so complicated. And if I had to choose another, I'd say Kittle. And you said 15%. Man, it can't get worse than 25. There's only 4 options. That's why Boom's awesome. Question 6, most passing touchdowns or made field goals. I like this one a lot. Aaron Rodgers, CJ Beathard, Robbie Gould, and Mason Crosby coming off the worst game of his life. So what do you like for this one?
Maybe the worst game of any kicker ever's life.
So true. So true.
It was disgusting.
He left 35 points on the field.
Yeah, I think he will. Was it that many? I
Yes.
think he will bounce back this week, but I don't like him in this contest. I think the Packers will be able to put it in the end zone. The Niners might not be able to get into the end zone quite as easily as the Packers. And Robbie Gould has been pretty much automatic for his entire career. So I like Robbie Gould to bang home a few field goals here.
I like Robbie Gould. I don't think he can get to 3, which is where I see Rodgers topping out at. I just feel like the Packers really need this game. Rodgers in primetime. I don't want to overthink this one. I'm going to take Rodgers. We are 2 questions away from $1 million, and this guy's got a questionable tag, so we got to make sure he plays. But it is George Kittle, exact receiving yards for the Niners. What do you got here, Nick?
I think the matchup is okay here for Kittle. I do think he's really their only strong weapon in the passing game right now, especially if some of those other guys can't go, like Garcon. I'm going to say about 80 for Kittle here.
That's the average. That's the number we're stuck on.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like 80 for him.
80 is a strong number. So I'm going to go 84 just because I don't think nice numbers are real when it comes to NFL stats. 84. Again, if the Niners are going to move the ball, George Kittle is going to move the ball.
The big question is, will the Niners move the ball?
No. I don't even know if Kittle's going to play.
Yeah, we'll find out.
The final question in this $1 million Monday Night Football slate is Davante Adams receiving yards. Praise you, Davante Adams, for going into this game healthy. He has quietly been torching defenses week in, week out, winning matchups, and being the consistent force for the Packers offense. He's at average of 85 yards a game. Where do you see Adams finishing Monday night?
Adams has definitely lived up to the hype this year. I did not think he would, but I will gladly take the L. And admit that he's been tremendous. I think he's going to have a tough matchup, going to get a little bit of Richard Sherman. Sherman does not shadow, so he's not going to chase him around the field. So I still think Adams will get some of his own work and produce a little bit. I'm going to go 75 here.
My favorite part about Davante Adams is his willingness to go over the middle. And when you're playing against a cover 3 scheme, I think that's really important to find gaps in the zone. San Francisco plays the Seattle defense without the Seattle defensive backs, and that means Adams is going to consistently win matchups and should have another fine performance. If I got Rodgers going for 3 totes, I got to have Adams going for at least 100. So I'm going to say 113. Solid game from Davante Adams, standing out when his other receivers are falling by the wayside. 8 questions, 1 game, $1 million. We nailed it, boss.
$1 million. Give it to me right now. I'll take it.
Listen, I know this game is confusing with the questionable injuries, but I really think what I said before, you have an edge when there are less players involved. Do you agree?
I totally agree.
So get in this contest, get some money, and get extra help from Daily Fantasy Insider if you need it, right, Nick?
Yeah, head on over to the War Room. We'll be in there about 2 hours heading up to lock for game time, and we'd love to answer your questions and help you out.
Bang. Week 6 in the books. We'll see you for the Thursday vid, right, boss?
Yep.
No, just kidding. We subbed you out for Ty.